ask you about your parents, and there's a funny moment involving your dad as well. But what do you think you learned from your folks?
What I learned from my dad was, as you can understand, in junior level cricket and coming up in any institution, you have a lot of things happening around selection and people being favored and doing the wrong things, and it's a lot of manipulation happens in terms of the important people getting their way and stuff like that. So we faced that as well, and there were many instances when I was growing up when literally my father was told that if you want your child selected or something like that, you'll have to do a few things to get him there.
Meaning what?
Meaning, doing a few favors for people or just entertaining people for the sake of it and stuff like that. And he was a self-made man, and he thought, no, this is not the right thing to do. I'm not going to entertain someone just so that my son can play state cricket. If he is good enough, he's going to make it on his ability, and if not, so be it. And because he was so strong and self-made, that taught me a lot of things, because had he chosen the wrong path for me, I would have become a guy who looks for excuses, because you learn everything from looking at what your parents do and the example they set. So I would have become a guy who looks for excuses, maybe could never reach the highest level. So what that taught me was to just believe in yourself, believe in your performances, and that's the only thing that will always speak for you. So those were the most important teachings for me growing up, to see the right thing happening in front of my eyes, and purely because we didn't also have the resources to do anything which was, outrageous or extravagant, that taught you the values of life.
You're 12 years old. Tell about when your father accidentally abandons you when you're kite shopping on Independence Day.
So my father was, as I said, self-made man, and he was very particular about rules and regulations. And for some reason, I forgot to get my the helmet to sit at the back of the scooter that we used to have. So he had his helmet on, and it was a Sunday, and I actually halfway he realized that I don't have the helmet on, and I told him it's fine, it's a Sunday, no one's gonna be there on the streets, no one's gonna catch us. And I was just being stupid, I was just being excited to just get out of the house and get those kites, because that's a big festival in North India. The Independence Day is celebrated by flying kites, and that's that sort of thing, so it's huge. And I was so excited to just get my stuff, and he took me there. So on the way back, we saw a shop where people were selling fruits, and I love watermelons. So I told him I want a watermelon, and they were big, like nice green watermelons there, and the guy cut it, we tasted it, everything. Okay, this is the one we're getting. And by the time I came out, I had the bag, and there used to be a hook in front of the scooter. So I went to put the watermelon on the hook, and I don't know what happened. By that time, a couple of traffic police guys were walking towards us, and they were randomly just walking on the street, right? They didn't even notice that I have a helmet, or the scooter was parked. And for some reason, he panicked. He thought they're coming to catch us, and he thought I'm on the scooter already. And before I could get on the back, he just rode off. And I'm standing there on the road looking at him just going away, and I'm thinking, I'm shouting, and the helmet used to have, used to cover your ears back then. So he couldn't hear me. And because of the sound of scooter as well, he just went off. And he didn't come back for 10 minutes, and I'm thinking, what the hell is going on? And then I took another mode of transport to go back home. We call those things rickshaws here, like a cycle kind of a thing. And then I'm sitting on one of those. So apparently he went back home and he asked my mother where I am. And she's like, what do you mean where I am? You took him with you. You should know where he is. So then he came back looking for me, and I was on this thing going back, and he's shouting from across the road, shouting my name, and I just turned my head. I didn't want to speak to him. I kept ignoring. I was like, how the hell can you do that to me? How can you leave me on the road? So yeah, that was a pretty funny moment, and I gave him a lot of flack after that.
And you had talked to him for like a couple days after that, right?
I didn't speak to him. I couldn't believe me. He left me on the street and went back home. He actually reached home. I could not believe it. I was like, okay, fine, you should remember that your child's not sitting behind you. He just went home. So yeah.